So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but recently a lot of manga has been out of stock everywhere. There are many reasons for why this is happening, but in this video, I wanted to discuss the 3 main reasons for why I think there has been this ongoing manga shortage. With the 3 main reasons being 1. Anime and manga becoming more mainstream, 2. Supply chain issues, and 3. Scalpers and resellers. Over the past decade, anime has steadily become more accessible to a broader audience through various streaming platforms. These streaming platforms have put more focus towards licensing and even producing anime content. However, this slow and steady growth was greatly accelerated during the beginning of the pandemic, when almost everything was shut down. Many people started working and studying from home, and with the extra leisure time and entertainment budget they had, they couldn't really go outside to enjoy it. So a lot of people tried to find hobbies and forms of entertainment that they could enjoy at home, with one of these things being watching anime, and in turn leading to them reading more manga. Let me explain. Generally, anime are created to promote and increase the sales of whatever the source material is. This could be a manga, light novel, or visual novel. There are anime original series not based off of any existing content, but in this case we're talking about anime adapted from manga. I think that it's a common experience after you've watched an anime. You want to know what happens next, or you just want to see what the original story is like, so you look into reading the manga. Manga publishing companies rely heavily on this phenomenon, and it even has a name called the anime boost. It's easy to see its scope in Japanese manga sales charts after a manga gets a hit anime adaptation, but it affects worldwide sales as well. So when we take into consideration how many new people got into anime, or back into it in some cases, over the past couple of years during the pandemic, we can see how the demand for manga increased exponentially so quickly. In fact, this rapid growth led to manga sales revenue in North America reaching a new high in 2020, since it last peaked in 2007 before the recession. The general interest in the hobby of collecting manga has never been higher, and we can see that from the growth of online communities such as r/manga collectors. But how have manga publishing companies been handling this unprecedented demand? Like many other industries, the manga publishing industry has been experiencing many supply chain issues over the course of the pandemic. Put simply, manga publishing companies cannot supply enough manga to meet the increased demand that has occurred over the past 2 years. Kevin Hamric, the vice president of publishing sales for Viz Media, the largest manga publisher in North America, highlights these issues in an article published by ICV2. During the COVID crisis, the demand for books in all categories rose, which in turn led to an increase in the number of reprint jobs. This led to printers being at max capacity and not being able to accept new jobs in a timely manner. Combine this with the fact that printers had to operate under COVID restrictions, as did book distribution warehouses, and the supply chain starts to slow down. There have been other issues during this time as well, such as a paper shortage, pallet shortage, carton shortage, employee shortage, truck driver shortage, and container shipping and port issues for those books that are printed overseas. From this statement, we can see how these supply chain issues are a lot more nuanced and widespread for the publishing industry as a whole. Hamric also mentioned in another article for ICV2 that there was also a fire at one of the binderies that Viz Media works with. While I've spoken a lot about Viz Media's supply chain issues, this has been affecting other companies in the industry as well. Ben Applegate, the director of publishing at Penguin Random House, who also oversees Kodansha Comics, has some advice for manga collectors during this ongoing shortage. If you see a manga that you want to read in a store or online and that manga is in stock, you should buy it now. The reprint situation is exaggeratedly apocalyptic, and you might not see that manga in stock again for months. Circling back to the ICV2 article, representatives from Yen Press, Viz Media, and Kodansha stated that they're working hard to increase printing capacity and even sourcing printing overseas to maximize output in order to replenish stock and fill reprint orders. However, at this time it seems likely that this shortage won't be over as quickly as publishers or readers would like it to be. While individual members of the community may not have control over the supply of manga, we do have the ability to choose where we want to buy the manga that is available to us. So you guys have probably heard of people scalping and reselling sneakers and PS5s, but nowadays people are doing the same thing for manga as well. The thing is, most manga series that are being resold for disgusting amounts of money are not even out of print, they're just out of stock. I think that it's important for me to explain the difference between out of print and out of stock. When a manga is out of print, it means that it will no longer be produced by the publisher. This could be due to a lack of sales and general interest from readers, the company losing the rights to license the series, or controversy surrounding the series, among many other reasons. Due to these reasons, you generally cannot find these manga at retail price. With that being said, this doesn't necessarily mean that the manga will never be released again, because there are examples of companies releasing an out-of-print series in a different format, or a completely different company getting the license for a manga that was at one point out of print. There are lists of out-of-print manga available online that members of the community have compiled together, and I'll have one of those lists linked down in the description below for anyone interested. When a manga is out of stock, it just means that publishers have not been able to keep up the supply of a series with the demand that it has at that moment, so it's not readily available to be purchased. This is what has currently been going on with many series, and the simplified reason behind the shortages. Under normal circumstances, if you're looking to collect a recently popular manga like Chainsaw Man, for example, there's no reason for you to have to resort to resellers on eBay or other platforms, because the series will be back in stock eventually. It's just difficult to tell exactly when that will happen in this current climate. I do have to say that patience is a virtue. If you're willing to wait, you'll most likely be able to find the series that you're interested in, for retail price or lower in some cases. I just hate to see people paying above MSRP for a manga that isn't even out of print, that will be readily available at a later date. With that being said, if you do decide to buy from a reseller, just make sure that what you're getting is legit, and don't unknowingly buy bootleg manga from a reseller, only to find out later when you post it to r/manga collectors or another online forum, where people will have to break the bad news to you that you got scammed. Now, I realize that this video has been pretty negative so far, but I did want to end it on a more positive note and try my best to explain what you can do as a consumer to get your hands on the manga that you're interested in. The first thing that I recommend if you're collecting an already ongoing series would be to pre-order the upcoming volumes if you can. This can be done on most online retailers' websites, such as Amazon, Right Stuf, Barnes & Noble, or even in person at a bookstore or local comic book shop. If you aren't able to pre-order, I recommend that you try to go into a bookstore or comic book shop around the time that new volumes are released. There's a higher chance that you'll be able to get new releases right away with this method. If you want to know the exact release dates for new volumes, manga publishing companies tend to release this information on their social media pages, or you can just look up specific series on Google and put volume list after the title, and it should be one of the first results that you see. This is what I personally do, and it works fine for me. Some retailers such as Right Stuf even allow you to order manga while it is out of stock, and they'll just fulfill the order when they do have it available at a later date. At this time, it's just difficult to tell when that will happen. The last bit of advice I have is for anyone that does miss out on collecting a series at the moment. I know it does suck not being able to get a series or volume that you're interested in, but we also have to keep in mind that it is very unlikely that the series is actually going out of print. It will be back in stock eventually. It just seems like we'll all have to play the waiting game during these uncertain times. Well, everyone, I hope that this video was helpful in explaining the current state of the manga market. If you found this video interesting, then I ask that you please leave a like and subscribe, as it does help a lot. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.